I feel finally ready to give an update on my last video here, but I want to share with you some warnings about this video. The first is that this video is a bummer. This is a bummer, and I am gonna be okay, but right now I'm not okay, and it's okay that I'm not okay, right? I'm going to talk about some kind of dark stuff. I'm going to talk about an operation that I had. I'm going to talk about the drugs that they gave me. I'm going to talk about the fact that I deal with really dark thoughts and some like really deep like pains and stuff. Well, I guess that kind of falls into the dark thoughts, you know. I feel very raw right now. I am in the like darkest stage of a traumatic experience, or I'm just on like the crescent moon phase of it. Like I'm just like, I don't know, if like the dark moon is, for example, for like the darkest time, I'm like where like the very beginning of like a crescent can be seen, but like I'm not out of it, you know, I'm not out of it. I want to say that you don't have to worry about me. Like, even though I'm gonna say to you how like I'm having. Okay, so let me just clarify what I mean by dark thoughts. I would never hurt myself. I would never hurt myself. I have a son. I have a lot to live for. I love myself. But in the past, like in high school, even in junior high, is where this like first started for me. I have had, or I dealt with at that time, dark thoughts, like thoughts, you know, stuff you can't even talk about on YouTube, unfortunately. And I don't say that to scare you or to be a weirdo with you, but like it's the reality that like I had these really dark thoughts even back in like middle school, high school, and I've learned not to have them. As in, I know I would never act on that. I would never. And yet, and maybe if you've dealt with those dark thoughts, you know what I'm talking about. Even though you've moved past that, even though you know that you would never, ever, ever do anything like that, it doesn't stop that phrase from entering your head. Something like, for me, I wish I was, because it just hurts so much. Like physically, mentally, emotionally, the pain for me is crushing. And that sentence, I wish I was, enters my head sometimes. And I'm like, oh, shut up. You don't mean that. Like I correct myself, but I'm just using it as like a real raw honesty and candor with you here to say, I am not okay right now, and that's okay. But this is like how low I feel. You know, this is how low I feel. This experience, I'm warning also, I'm totally going to cry. I am totally going to cry in this for sure. And warning, I don't like myself right now, as in, I know that I'm difficult to be around right now because it's hard to be around someone who is at like one of the lowest points in their life, you know? It just is. But I have to give myself like grace to feel all of this. I have to validate this. I have to remind myself that like I'm human and it's okay to have all of these feelings. I went through something very traumatic, something you can't begin to understand unless you've gone through it. And this was like just one of the worst possible outcomes that could happen. And I'm just struggling, you know, I'm struggling. However, things will get better. Like they will, you know, I know that they will. I know that I'll heal from this. I know that I'll move on. I know that like there's another life for me, you know, but like right now I am crumpled. I feel broken. I feel less than. My self-esteem and my like self-worth is totally trampled. And I feel like a part of me has died, and I have to design now the me that remains, you know, like not in some sad way either. Like I have to pull myself together once I've processed, and I'm still processing right now, but once I've processed, I have to pull my strength together and reclaim like my own energy and design myself for going forward. The architectural structure of who I am, of my goals, of my environment, right? But right now, I'm soup. I am trampled, like broken, shattered. Okay. So fair warning. I will say as well too, like I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you so much for being here. If you're here, it's probably because you follow my other channel. And thank you. Like, I hope this never happens to you. I hope you never have to deal with anything like this. I realize this is something that like people don't want to hear about. Like people don't want to hear about, especially if you're pregnant or something. You don't want to hear about, or like conceiving or dealing with infertility. You don't want to hear these like bummer stories. But you know what? They deserve to be heard. Like they deserve to be available as well for other people, because as I've been searching for comfort, unfortunately, right? Misery loves company. It's comforting to know that like I'm not alone. I have not found much on my circumstances. There's people out there for sure, but I have not found much on my circumstances. And I'm going to contribute to that, because even my husband was like a scientist. He's like, seriously, like somebody should make a case study about you, because this is like just wild. Like this is just so unusual. Or, you know, just like it's just, I don't know. Unusual might not be the right word, but I don't know. It's remarkable, you know, in not the best way. Okay, so we left off in my last video. I was sharing with you that I was pregnant. I ended up knowing I was gonna miscarry. I miscarried, although it wasn't necessarily a proper miscarriage, but I had like the physical miscarriage, let's say. My hormone levels weren't going down. It was confirmed I had an ectopic because there was nothing in my uterus. And I had been given 1 dose of methotrexate, which is a low-dose chemotherapy drug, and we were waiting for that to work. And that's where I left off with you. During that week after the methotrexate shot, I mean, the shot itself was pretty brutal. Headaches, migraines, just a general unwell feeling. You can't take vitamins, you can't eat vegetables, you're going low folate. You just feel very, very unwell. I don't know a better way to say that. And during that week, I could just tell it wasn't working. I'm very sensitive. Maybe it's intuition. Maybe it's, I don't know, but it wasn't just an anxiety. It wasn't just a fear. I was like, this isn't working. Like, I feel like this isn't working. And I went to get my blood work done, as I said I was going to in my last session, my last video here with you. And I saw my doctor. She asked how I was feeling. I told her what the side effects were, but overall at this point I felt pretty okay. I just feel like it's not working, but we won't know until we get the blood work tomorrow, like the results from the blood work. She offered me an ultrasound. I said, unless you really think I need it, I don't feel like I need it. I don't think it's going to tell us anything that the blood work won't tell us, right? And she said, yeah, I agree, but I wanted to offer that to you. Well, the next morning, I woke up at 5:30 in excruciating pain. I didn't yet realize that I was rupturing at first, but it became clear to me over the next couple hours when it just got worse. Like, it just kept getting worse. I was like rolling around in bed. I got up to get a heating pack for myself. I was just in so much pain, and because it didn't let up, I started to think, oh, actually this isn't some kind of bleed or some kind of release. Like this is real bad. at about 7 a.m. or something that morning, I got my LabCorp test results emailed to me, and sure enough, the number did not go down at all. In fact, it went up a few. So the methotrexate did not work. And by the pain that I was feeling, I just knew I was rupturing, you know. So I luckily had been in communication with the office so much that I had the office manager for my doctor's office's direct email. So I didn't have to go through like the phone line system, which if you know what I'm talking about, you know, sometimes it's really hard to like get to the right person or whatever, or even get through if their answering service is on. So I know that they're in the office by 7, but they don't have like appointments till 9, right? So I emailed the office manager and just said, hey, like I got my results. The HCG actually went up a little bit and I'm having a ton of pain now. So she talked to the doctor and was just like, okay, like we want you to come in. So my husband drove me. I could hardly walk. I was in so much pain, like so much pain. I was hobbling, taking a few steps and like pausing, you know, and just like so much pain. We got into the doctor's office, and I want to say too, actually, because you're probably like, why didn't you just go to the emergency room? Well, I really was trying to avoid the emergency room, and for financial reasons. I had like a UTI a couple years ago, which I don't get those like ever, but I did end up getting one, and I ended up in the emergency room, or going to the emergency room because it felt really bad, and I got a bill for almost $2,000, and I was there in the middle of the night. There was no one else there. I was in and out in maybe an hour and a half. You know that's unheard of, and typically. I went in, gave my sample, got antibiotics, and left, and I had a almost $2,000 bill. So I did not want to go to the emergency room if I didn't have to. I knew that something was really, really wrong, but my doctor's office is in the hospital. So either way, like I'm going to the right location. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the right place. So I go there, go in with my husband. The office was like barely even open yet, so there wasn't anybody else. They brought me in for an ultrasound, and you could just tell my doctor, she's just really sweet. And she could tell there was like blood around the area that the ectopic was in, which was my right tube. And she's like, you've had an ectopic before? And I'm like, yeah, that's how I lost my left tube. And she just looked at me like with this like really sad face and was like, yeah. And like I just knew, like she didn't have to say anything. I just knew. It was like, yeah, like she just felt so bad because she knew she was gonna have to take my tube. Like she knew what this meant for me. And you know, we found that out, and I just turned to my husband and just like cried into him. We both cried, and I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I just can't believe that this happened. Like the odds of an ectopic are like 1%. And people who have ectopics can have them again, but not typically in like different tubes. Like if you had an ectopic in one and it damaged your tube a little bit, they could save your tube. It's kind of makes it more of a chance where that could happen again, like if there was some issue. But to have it like 2 separate times in 2 tubes, like 20 years apart or something, which is like the odds are so low, like so low. The methotrexate was supposed to work, like it's 85 to 95% effective. Didn't work. Like every odds that I had, I just got like the worst odds. Like I just got the unlucky 1%, you know. And I'm trying to remind myself that like we live in a world that we live in a reality where nothing can exist without its component, you know. Like if it can be so unlucky, you can also be so lucky. So like maybe I'll get a lottery ticket like after this is all over, right? But like, yeah. So the like office manager was so sweet. Like people are like crying for me. It's like I'm obviously so upset. And my doctor's like, you can still do IVF, like you could still, and I'm just like, I didn't say anything, but I've told you in the last video, like we've decided not to do IVF. It's so expensive. It's not guaranteed. And my husband and I have talked about this, obviously, but like, we just feel like, and he's like a bioengineer. He's like freaking scientist bioengineer. And even he's like, you know, there's something about biology. It's like and for me, it's like, my terminology is like, there's something about nature that I just feel like I need to respect. Like I need to like just, this is not for other people. This is just for me. But like, as in like, make the right choice for you. My choice might not be the right choice for you, right? But like, I just feel like if this has happened and I've gone through this, it's like, that's it. Like, that's just a sign. Like, for whatever the big plan is, like the big picture, the cause and effect, the turn of the wheel, it's just not meant to be, and I shouldn't push it. Like, I just don't feel like I should push it. So they wheeled me down, like, you know, in the wheelchair to the emergency room. I got checked in, and this was maybe now 10 o'clock. And it's been just hours pass, you know. Somebody comes in, puts in the IV. Somebody comes in, hooks you up to these things and monitors. Somebody comes in and does a little like mini sonogram or ultrasound to see if there's blood in the upper region of the cavities of my abdomen, just to see like how far this is, how urgent this is, right? Because if there's blood in like the upper cavity, maybe, you know, we have to like move it even quicker. Got another ultrasound there in this time. All of this like so painful, you know, people poking on me, people having to get like a transvaginal ultrasound where they're trying to be gentle, but they're really jabbing into this like really tender place. And I'm just crying because like I've been through this before, and it was just so traumatic the first time, and here I am like reliving this again. Like I just can't believe it. The first time I had an ectopic, I was alone the whole time, and I had to stay overnight even at the hospital. The whole time I was alone until the next morning my dad came to visit me. And this time I had my husband there like the whole time. He didn't leave until when I was like going into surgery. Like he kissed me goodbye, and I was going into surgery, and I was like, go home. Like you can't even see me for a couple hours. Like go home, take Shoko out, get yourself some food. This poor man, he's like 6'1", 210 pounds, hasn't eaten all day. He's worried about me. Like I'm like, go eat. I couldn't eat anything because I knew I was having surgery, and he just stayed with me the whole time, right? So yeah, before I went in though, like they get you up to like the, I don't know, like the surgery floor, right? Like out of the emergency room floor. And you're waiting there more, and they're hooking you up to other stuff, and all the different nurses and anesthesiologists is coming in and stuff, and telling you like what's gonna happen. And yeah, I got wheeled into surgery. They gave me, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the drug. I'm really terrible with like names of things that like I don't hear very often. But basically, they put in the IV before I even got into the surgery room. Like they're like, you might feel sleepy like on the way into the operating room. The stuff that Michael Jackson was taking, what is it called? Like Proferol or something like that. I don't know, something like that. So that makes you sleepy. And then they were going to put like a tube down my throat to like a breathing tube, I guess. But I don't know if like the anesthesia, I don't know. I can't remember exactly now, but I got that Proferol or whatever it's called. I'm messing that up. And by the time I got into the operating room, I saw the lights, you know, and I was just like, I don't remember anything after that. Other times that I've had surgery, like you get in there and they're like talking to you, okay, we're gonna count down, or okay, I want you to take big breaths or something, and like no, like I was like saw the lights and just closed my eyes and I was just out. Woke up and I don't know if my husband was there right when I woke up or he literally got there like a minute after, but he was there, you know. Woke up from the anesthesia feeling sore but like very drugged up, you know, like if you've ever had anesthesia before, you're not like I'm not like out of it like loopy or anything, but like you're out of it, you know. You just had surgery, you're on drugs and stuff. So they kept me for a little while after that. Called in the prescriptions that they sent to my like pharmacy. I got a pretty high dose, I think, of like ibuprofen. I'm not exactly sure, but I didn't end up taking it. In fact, I'm only sharing this, I don't know why, but ibuprofen like terribly upsets my stomach, and I didn't want to take the one that they gave me. And my husband had got me this before, when I knew I was going to miscarry. He got me this for the pain. Not like, I'm not trying to promote this brand, but it's called phytoprofen. And it's a combination of bromelain, curcumin, ginger, frankincense, and it's also an NSAID. So ibuprofen is an NSAID, so I took this instead of the ibuprofen. But they also gave me oxycodone for 3 days worth. And even as my doctor was like telling me like, okay, we're gonna give you some oxycodone to go home, and I was just thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna take that. Like, I took that. Like, I am not above that. I took that. It was such a painful experience after the surgery. But immediately after, I was kind of drugged up and sore and very uncomfortable from the stitches and stuff. But the whatever cocktail they had me on definitely helped a lot. I don't know what time it was when we got home, maybe like 6 or something. I didn't have to stay over, which was good. I'm sure that would have just added to the bill that we're gonna get. But yeah, like I did feel like the pain meds wearing off, and I humbled myself real quick and was like, you know what, I am gonna take I'm gonna follow this oxy dose of every 6 hours and just take this until I don't feel like I need it anymore. And it worked out very well because I really did end up needing it. So they also gave me like an anti-nausea medicine that I didn't need. I didn't feel nauseous. And they also gave me recommended I get a stool softener because apparently oxy and stuff like that can make that difficult, and you're just so tore up. Like the thought of like pushing at all just sounds so terrible. So I was taking the stool softener and stuff as well with the oxy, and just anytime I ate anything I would take 2 of them, and it helped a lot. I didn't have any problems with that at all. All right, so go home. My throat was so sore from the breathing tube, like really rough and sore and just like not feeling good. Peeing hurt a lot. So they put like a catheter in you, and yeah, it's same concept. This like irritates your throat, that irritates you. So it's very uncomfortable. And because I was on the oxy, I just was very like numb, like not physically. I still felt a lot of pain, but it was much more manageable. Oh, and when I got home that day, the gas, so they put CO2 into your abdominal when they do laparoscopic surgery, kind of like to make some room so that they can see, you know, like as they're doing stuff, which I guess makes sense, but I had no idea that they did that. And you're left with it like in your like abdominal cavity, and it was so painful, like just turning or twisting, like ah. It was so bad. It was so hard to get comfortable. I had to sleep like all, it was like super propped up, and I still am very uncomfortable laying down or anything. I don't, yeah, okay. So, super swollen, like it looked like I was 5 months pregnant, you know, like just super swollen and puffy. And I have like two of my incisions don't look bad, but one of my incision looks really bad. And it's like, I don't mean to be superficial, and I know lots of people get surgeries and scars and stuff, but because it is related to like such a painful experience, looking at this cut, looking at this incision, it's just really hard for me right now. I really hope it starts to look better over time, but it's in like a weird place. So if this is like your pelvic area, and here's like kind of like where your hip bone is, and maybe my nose is like where the belly button would be or something. I've got a little cut. It's very bruised right now, but like a small incision on my like right hip, kind of near my hip bone. They do one in like your belly button, not like through your belly button, but like kind of in your belly button going down, kind of like a belly button piercing, but like down. And then the other one though is like much bigger. It's like this big of an incision, and it's like in like the pooch part, you know, like the pooch part of your like lower belly, like where your fat is and stuff, you know. So it's like making this dent in there, and it's like really bothering me, and it feels bad. It's like achy still and like pulling, and it just looks really bad. I just hope that doesn't stay like that, but I'm really afraid that it will, because it's not like a, oh, ow, I just got pain in the heart. Oh, it's not like a C-section. Oh, sorry, I just touched the microphone, I didn't realize. It's not like a C-section scar, but it's like that, but like higher into the side and shorter, and that can make this like kind of fold or like indent. And I just like, if this was a C-section scar and I had like a baby in my arms or something, I feel like I'd be a lot more okay with it. But this is like a scar from like my sterilization, and it just like, I don't know, it's just like a really bad association, and I'm just upset about it. And I know it's superficial, and in a way you're like lucky to be alive, right? But like, I don't know. I read, don't quote me, you know, but like I read that ectopics are like the #1 cause of death related to pregnancy. Like that's the highest mortality issue. It's related to ectopics. Like they are life-threatening. They're very dangerous. And I know I'm like, in a way, like lucky to be alive, but I just feel so like, I'm just really upset and really low feeling. Okay. So the first day was like very painful. The second day was very painful, but at this point now, my hormones started to go down. So like the emotions were like so intense, and I had the oxys for 3 days. So as the hormones started dropping on day 2, I guess, post-op, I started to bleed like a lot. Like they said you wouldn't bleed a lot. I bled a lot. Not scary, not hospital, but a lot. Way more than I thought I was going to. Like, if I lie down, I'm bleeding. If I sit on the toilet, I'm bleeding. If I'm walking, I'm bleeding. If I'm like doing anything, if I'm shifting my weight, I'm bleeding. Like it was like constant, you know. Typically it's like if you feel a pad an hour and you have like, you know, like clots or something, like go to the emergency room. It was never that much where it was like, oh my God, I need to go to the emergency room. But it was more than I was expecting. So, okay, that's like, let's say day 2. Day 3, the bleeding turned into like the sort of labor pain. So when I had the miscarriage through all of this, it was so painful. It was was so painful. It was like the contractions and like really intense. Like it was like being in labor, like not maybe as bad, but like very close, like pre-labor, early labor at least, which is horrible still. This was more of that like back labor, wrapping around the hips labor, contracting labor, but not like where you can actually time the contractions, but like you just feel like your uterus like going crazy. It was just so painful. So luckily I was still on Oxy when that happened. That was like day 3, I'd say. And it peaked. It wasn't like, so when I get my period, it starts off really bad and then it tapers off. This was like starting with like a lot of bleeding, but then the pain got worse and worse and worse. So it was just really weird and like dragged out and stuff. Finally, that like all ended. I'm not the bleeding part, but like the pain of it. And so I like ran out of my Oxy, which is good. You know, I don't want to keep staying on them or anything, but they definitely helped. And my hormones were crashing. And it was just like at that point, like I have been crying. I have been sad. I have been feeling terrible. But like when the combination of not being numbed by the drugs anymore, like even emotionally kind of numbed, and the hormones crashing, just like, I can't even explain it. Like, I've never cried so much. Like, even when Bamba died, I have not cried for so long and so much. I mean, I have been this whole time. There have been times where, like, there's days where I'm crying. But this is, like, on another level. This is, like, just such a different kind of grief for me. Like, of course I'm sad about the pregnancy, but I kind of processed that already. Like, I kind of came to terms with it, and it's sad. But this is, like in the last video I posted, I said, like, I'm not going to give up until it's impossible. It's impossible. Like, it just happened that quickly, and I just wasn't prepared. I just didn't think that was going to happen. I was worried about having to take another methotrexate shot. Like, that was my concern. I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't, like, prepare myself for this, like, sterilization, for this, like, whole, like, life that I built in my mind. And, like, things that I imagined and things that my husband and I both wanted to just go away and just be impossible all of a sudden. Like, even if I realize I'm older, but I was, like, more preparing for, like, somebody's listening to music. I was preparing myself more for menopause. Like, I thought I had a couple more years at least in trying. You know, I thought that there could be, like, some kind of miracle. But it just turned into, like, just such a devastating. So it's like, I'm sad about the loss of the pregnancy. I'm sad about this whole experience. Has been so painful and so emotional and just so hard. It's been so physically hard for me. I'm sad that, like, and just, like, very disturbed at this, like, sterilization issue. And, like, that this life that I had in my head just isn't, like, that's not it. And I have to, like, I'll talk more about that, like, as I get to that point, because I want to talk to you more about, like, the spiritual kind of side of things. So I'll save it. But I'm just, like, the surgery, the scars, like, my face looks so beat up because I've just been crying for so long. Like, months. This has been, like, months of pain. And I just, like, that's what I'm talking about with, like, these dark thoughts of just, like, I don't know how much more I can take. Like, again, don't get me wrong, I've never hurt myself. But, like, that's what I feel like. I just feel like I can't keep doing this. Like, when is this gonna stop? You know? Like, when is it gonna stop? I just wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready for this. It's not what I thought was gonna happen. So, okay. Yeah, so right now I'm just in this phase of like, I'm devastated. I'm really struggling with like my self-esteem. I'm concerned for my relationship, as in, like, my husband's been amazing. He's such a good man. He's so handsome and so beautiful and just such a good man. And I'm like he's not gonna get what he wants because of me. He should, like, either he'll probably leave me, or like, oh, he should just leave me because like I can't give him that. And he like assures me, of course, that he wanted that with me because he loves me, but it's not that he wants it more than us, you know, and stuff like that. But it's just hard. It's hard. I feel like a failure. I feel like I let him down. I feel, again, broken. I feel less than I was. Like, I'm literally less than I was just like, 9 days ago or something. I don't mean to be superficial. I don't think that scars are bad, like, but at the same time, like, I would be lying if I said that this wasn't bothering me. Like, it's like all related, like, I'm on pelvic rest, obviously, right? But like, I'm even thinking about like the future and like intimacy, and like the way I feel so broken right now. It's like, I'm just gonna be thinking about that. And then I have this big ugly mark on my stomach. Like, it's just gonna make me think about that. Like, I need the therapist, like, I'm trying to find one. I promise, like, I'm gonna find one. But it's like, my self-image is just like so hit by this, like, so much. I feel like so much older. I feel like I've lost like a big piece of me, even though I know that like I'm 43 soon. Like, it would have been gone anyway, but like, that's a process, This is just like, I still have my ovaries and my uterus and stuff. So it's not like I'm missing the hormones and all of that, but it's just really hard. I just really wasn't ready. I don't know what else to say. Like, how else to explain it. I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. And I'm just devastated, and there's feelings I didn't know would come up, So, actually I wrote down like a little list of things because I knew I was gonna get all sidetracked and crazy. All right, I guess there are some consolation prizes to this experience. They're not great, and again, some of them are kind of superficial, so bear with me because I'm just having a really hard time with my self-esteem, and maybe I'll change as I start to heal more. But okay, so one of the reasons that not having fallopian tubes has a slight benefit because I've read that it can reduce your risk of ovarian cancer by 80%, which is a lot, so that's good. That's a good thing. Another thing is that, like, so like I said, I'm almost 43, and I know that I do want to do hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, like as I enter perimenopause or got closer to menopause or whatever. But I have been delaying researching it because you can't do that when you're pregnant. Like, you can't be on HRT and be trying to conceive and stuff, So now I can look into that. I don't know if I'm perimenopausal. Like, if you just say, oh, you're 43, yes, you are. But I have like regular periods. I have no sign of being perimenopausal. but my age really. So I'm going to talk to my doctor at my follow-up, my 2-week follow-up, which is like in a few days, and see what she says or whatever. I like question if I should even say this out loud, because I think it's very trivial and it's not important and it's contradictory, because like I'm telling you that like I'm really concerned for like how big of a financial hit this is going to be for us, and yet I'm about to tell you that I really want to do something that's expensive and superficial and kind of selfish, but it's honest, and maybe I'll change my mind when I feel a little better. But so before I met my husband, we've only really known each other for like 2 years. We're really lucky to have found each other when we did, to have met at all. He's like my dream man. He's so wonderful. But before I met him, I was looking into getting some plastic surgery, specifically a breast lift. I kind of promised myself that if I wanted that, I would do that for myself way back when my son was born, and I started breastfeeding. Like, you know, he was a breastfed baby. I know not everybody can do that, but it was something I really, like, I pushed through. They do not tell you how painful breastfeeding is. Like in the beginning, in the first 3 months, it is so painful. I 100% understand why people give up on it. I've never felt pain like that before. Like, and I just went through childbirth, and like the pain of that was almost as bad. Like, it is so painful. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna really try to breastfeed for a year. Like, I'm really gonna try. They say it's really good for them. Like, I want to do that. Like, I'll sacrifice my comfort and my body to do this, right? And I ended up breastfeeding my son for 3 years. And I told myself, like, because like they get very big and then they kind of go back to where they are now. And I told myself, like, if you, at the end of the day, after all of this, if you really want to get a breast lift, you should do that for yourself. Like, girl, I support you, because this is a lot. And if you want to do this now and do this for your son, and, you know, like, and then you decide, like, you can do that, right? So don't stress about that. Don't worry about that. Like, if you really want to get something changed or tweaked, I support you, you know, like, to myself. And I started looking into it before I met my husband. I found a great surgeon. I went to my consultation. I got a mammogram because they told me that you need to do that. Like, I was about to put my deposit down and schedule my surgery, and I met my husband, and we just, like, I can't explain meeting him. It was like meeting someone I've known all along. And I know people say that all the time, but like, it is a true feeling. And we just like wanted the same things. We like fit perfectly together. Like, everything was just like perfect, aside from us like meeting each other so late in life, right? So we both were like, yeah, like, I mean, I would love to have a family, you know, add to my family. And he also wanted that, and we just like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this, let's do it. And we got married, and we started trying, right? And so I didn't go through with the surgery because, you know, why would I do that if I was potentially going to have another kid and then go through the same thing? Like, why would I do that, right? So now that, like, that's not an option, I'm considering it again, like, really considering it again. And I know that we shouldn't rely on, like, surgeries to make us feel better, but this is something I've wanted for since I stopped breastfeeding. For, you know, a decade, because my son's about to be 13. So I've wanted this for like a decade. And again, it's expensive. It's not necessary. My husband assures me that, like, don't do it for him because he's quite happy. Like, he loves me, blah, blah, all this stuff, and thinks I'm beautiful and all this. So this is a selfish thing, right? Like, it's about me and how I feel and what I'm comfortable with and all of that. And so I am considering that, like really genuinely considering that. I have my husband's blessing and, financial contribution. He said we have like shared finances, but at the same time we have like separate finances too. And so he would, contribute to that, which is nice of him. And, yeah, so that's like, again, these are consolation prizes, right? Like, this is not what I wanted. This is not what's important to me in like the big picture, but just to be perfectly honest, like, my self-esteem has taken such a hit, and the breast lip thing, like, always did kind of bother me. But now that I have this, like, scar, and now that I just can't, like, right now, imagine, like, feeling good about myself. Like, I don't know. I know that's, like, really stupid. I know it's stupid. You know what I mean? But I don't know how to stop it, and I don't know. I have to think about it still, of course, but it's part of the thing that I'm potentially looking forward to, and right now, I know it's really important to be in the moment and to feel your feelings and stuff, but like, I really need things to look forward to, because I am just so impatient at this point with my healing. I'm so impatient with this pain. I'm so impatient with like having to go through all of this for so long and so dragged out. And it's just like one terrible thing after another. So, again, consolation prize. The last thing, I guess, is like the freedom aspect. Like, I'm very lucky to already be a mom. Like, I have my son. He's the sweetest boy. He loves me so much. It's just amazing. Like, I'm so blessed. And his dad is great. And, like, we share 50-50 custody. We co-parent really well together. And I get to see my son every other week. We swap every other week. And maybe when he turns like 18, he'll decide to do a little longer stints or anything. But until then, it's just 50-50, right? When I say freedom, like, there is a reason people choose not to have kids. There is a reason. There's a reason people get their fallopian tubes removed to sterilize themselves. Like, that's what they want, They want to know that that's prevented because they know that that's not what they want in their life, right? And that's their choice, and totally respect that. I mean, it's not what I wanted, but I understand that that's it. And other people might have their fallopian tubes removed for like things to do with like endometriosis, or again for that benefit of like protection potentially against like 80% protection or reduced risk of like ovarian cancers. There's reasons people would do it. And there's reason people don't want kids, because kids are, they're a financial cost. They're so amazing. Like, I love being a mom. I'm so lucky. And it just breaks my heart for like the people who've gone through this or other forms of infertility, who like didn't get to become parents, like, but conceive, and they would be great parents. It just seems very unfair, and I don't know the reason for everyone's life path, right? But it's just hard to think about that stuff. Like, I'm very lucky. My son's almost 13. He's so great, and I just love him so much. But again, there's reasons people choose not to, because financially maybe, or just the freedom, the the sovereignty, you know, you could travel more easily. You know, you can focus on yourself more. You can, I don't know, you know, there's just reasons. There's just reasons. So there is some perks, I guess you could say, to it, and in that regard. Like, my husband and I like to travel with my son, but then we like to travel by ourselves, you know, and we can do that a little more easily because my son goes to stay with his dad half the time. And in that time, my husband and I can go take our own trips, right? So there's like a benefit, I guess, in that I'm trying to like stay positive about. But I mean, I wouldn't choose that over this, but, or, you know, I wouldn't choose this over that, but, you know, this is just what I have. So I have to kind of hold on to that, or, you know, milk what I can, I guess. Okay, did I have anything else? I just want to talk about the spiritual stuff. Okay, did I talk about the hormone replacement thing? I can't remember now. So if I didn't, I'll just say it again and then I'll just cut it out myself. But I'm also interested in hormone replacement therapy. Like I said, I'm age-wise perimenopausal while I don't have symptoms. So I'd like to work with a doctor on that. There's a lot of reasons people might want to do bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, even when they're not yet menopausal. Some research shows that it's better to start it earlier if you can. You can prevent more like bone loss. You can prevent more like vitality, and like it can be really good for your health in a lot of ways. There's some potential risks too, so you definitely want to work with a doctor for that. But yeah, that's like another perk because I couldn't even start to look into that, like knowing that I could potentially get pregnant any month. So now I can look into that, and maybe in the long run that will help me like stay healthy and stuff or whatever. Okay, so, and I think it's like heart disease and things like that as well. It can be like really helpful for like protecting your heart and stuff. But you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying I'm gonna look into that. Okay, so now I want to talk about the spiritual stuff. Okay, so how am I like processing this on, like, I'm obviously, if you know me from my other channel, you know, just stumble across this. I'm obviously a very spiritual person. It helped me to look at things from a bigger perspective. And I do believe that, like, even though I don't want to say, oh, everything happens for a reason, like, that sounds too vague and too, like, canned or something. Whereas I believe everything has cause and effect. There's cause and effect in everything. And even things that are tragic and painful can have an effect that is the opposite of that, or is beautiful, or is helpful. If talking about this helps people, then I'm glad to help people. When I lost my dog, like when I had to put my dog down, it was like the hardest thing at that point in my life. And like, I've lost my mom. My mom has moved away. I have like all kinds of other things, but like when my dog died, it was like the worst thing that had to ever happen to me. And I can look back and think, like, not that I would ever want that to happen again, but I would never have met my husband if that was the case, because I wouldn't have been like seeking like to get back out in the world or anything. I would have been more focused on my dog because I love him and he was my best friend. So like there's little things like that, you know, even that when they don't seem related, like my mom died in 2011, my son was born in 2012. Like, I know the pendulum swings. I know that things move. I know that as bad as it can get is as good as it can get. Like, I really believe in all of that. So that kind of helps. But the reality is that like I'm suffering and I'm struggling, and my sense of identity, my sense of self-esteem is so low, and I have to learn to heal this. And when I do, I'll share with you how I did. But it is about like, I don't want to say leading the way for others, is not what I mean, but it is like contributing to the healing path, like contributing to the path of like alchemy, even if it's of just perspective. And so that we don't feel victimized by our circumstance, we can feel empowered at the end of this, like when we get through it. And all that said, it's just right now I feel low, I feel trampled, I feel broken, I feel insecure. I feel victimized, and I hate that. That is like not what I'm about at all, but it's the reality. So there's a balance, right? Like you have to validate it, let yourself feel it, but you also don't want to attach to it. You don't want to like take it on. I feel like there is this like, as I've been resting in bed or just kind of laying around being depressed and healing, I'm in just purgatory of time right now. Like I can't lift anything very heavy. I can't like go to the beach. I can't walk very long at all. I went to like a nature center yesterday and just did like a tiny walk. And my cut, this one that I told you was bad, it was like so achy and pulley, and I just wanted to go home, and I felt so much anxiety and stuff. My dog started barking. There was a noise, and she protect. I love you, Shoko. You're so good. Look over here. What's over here? This way. What's over here? It's Shosho. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so as I've been laying in bed, as I'm depressed, as I'm just petting my dog, I just feel this sense that's familiar to me of processing behind the scenes, of like defragmenting. And I've felt this before, actually, like when I've done mushrooms. I used to, I've made videos about it on my other channel, but, I've experimented with drugs in high school for sure. A little bit after high school, but mostly high school. But I have done mushrooms in my adulthood, maybe like, I don't know, a decade ago when my son's dad took my son on vacation by himself. And I was like, I think I have some mushrooms. And I like set up my room like, oh, I'm going to have a healing experience. I'm going to call in my guides, blah, blah. And mushrooms was like, no, like we're going to just clean you up. Like you just rest, listen to music, pet your dog. We've got work to do here. And I had this sense, and it's going to sound scary or gross, but it wasn't at all. It was really beautiful, actually. Very comforting, but it's going to sound weird. Where, magnet popped off. There was like this image that I got and this feeling, and I don't mean creepy crawly feeling, but like this like image of like bugs. Like it was almost like being in dirt and just seeing like ants moving through and like bugs moving through. And this just feeling of like these little workers like cleaning stuff up, these little workers like utilizing this waste, these little workers like bringing air into the earth or something, like aerating the earth, like just this processing, like just this defragmentation or something. And it's what I've been feeling lately, not taking mushrooms or anything, but it's just what I've been feeling lately. There's this thing I want to tell you about, but it's also like really painful and it sounds kind of scary, I guess. But again, I would never hurt myself. So, and that's not what I'm talking about anyway, but just to clarify again. So through all of this, especially like after surgery specifically, and like finding out that I'm sterile, or like realizing like, oh my God, what did just happen? There's like this feeling that I have of like a dead cast on me, like who I was as a hide. But there's part of me that's like not ready to let go. Like like in grief, like not ready to let go. Like I realize I have to let go, but I'm having a hard time. And, you know, it was like days of like thinking about this or this coming up. And I was like, well, I need to do a ritual, or I need to like do a meditation. I need to do something to get rid of this, to like really release it, because I have to. And at first I kind of saw myself like, it almost feels like this form, like this dead cast of pain and regret and just sorrow. And like inside of me is who I am, but it's shapeless. It's like, I almost see it like this blue jelly or something, like truly like a chrysalis and like a butterfly forming inside of itself type like imagery. But like, I feel like the inside of me, the new me, the me going forward, doesn't have form yet. Like, I need to design these like architectural bone structures of who I want to be, how I see myself, my environment, and my path, you know, like projected out. Like I need to claim that. I need to design that now that things are the way that they are. So it's hard to shed this, release this cast, because that's not like formed yet. So I've been in this sort of, and I think that's where that like defragmenting sort of feeling is coming from. It's like wrapping up like internally behind the scenes what can no longer be in this like person that I was, almost in a way. Obviously I'm still me, right? But like spiritually speaking, while the defragmenting also is like initiating like the germination of like the new, you know? So it's like this sort of weird limbo spiritual feeling. And at first I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do a ritual and I'm gonna like cast this off and see it being burned and transmuted. But again, I just feel like it's hard to let go right now. And then I saw like other kind of forms that were similar to that. Like, okay, yeah, I'll write down all the things, like, and I'll just like burn that paper. But it also just still felt too harsh, and not necessarily like disrespectful, but kind of like disrespectful to that story, or like that pain or whatever. And now, or not now, but like then shortly after, maybe like a few days, I finally just saw like more of like a saying goodbye. Like you would visit someone in a hospital, or like when I said goodbye to my mom when I knew she was gonna die, like just kind of like you have to let me go, kind of like it's okay to say goodbye kind of thing. And it felt more sweet, more peaceful, sad still, but not as much as like I cast you off because you hurt me, or I cast you off because I don't need you anymore. More of like a send off. Sorry. More of a send off, more of a like peaceful goodbye. So that's kind of what I've been like envisioning when I feel like I need to. This like peaceful goodbye, and like when it transits, or when it fully processes, like it will, you know, it just will. And I'll feel it, you know. That's kind of all I have, I guess, right now. I will be okay. Like, I'm not the first one to deal with this, and I'm very lucky that I have a son. People have like left a lot of comments on my last video. I saw a lot about like, why don't you just adopt? And honestly, like, I would love that. Like, I've thought about that many times before, even before this whole experience. Before I even met my husband, like I thought about that. It's always been something I kind of think about because I do have some kind of pull for that sort of connection, that sort of unconditional love of like being able to provide like a safe and nurturing space for a child who needs it, and the bond that we could form like through that, I'm sure is beautiful. But it's a different process, and I'm just not ready to like think about it right now. So if I could put it this way, I recently, not recently, but like through this and before things got really, really bad, but while it was bad, like maybe like, I don't know, like what the hell was the point of talking about a timeline here? But like before like the sterilization, before I maybe even knew it was ectopic, I was like pulling some cards for myself. And one of the cards I got was like this image of a couple with like a path ahead of them leading to like this sort of like great hall, kind of not churchy, but like a great hall, like this like spiritual building. And the card was basically like a message of like, you feel like you've known each other for so long, but this is only the beginning, you know, this is only the beginning of this journey together, and there's going to be twists and turns. And I feel like that with my husband, like we've only really known each other for like 2 years. And we've been through a lot together. Like we've been through a lot together already. We've traveled, we've had miscarriage, we've gone through this, like we've gone through a lot together, and we know and we see each other. Like we really like get each other. But it's like all of it was like building up to this, which is the beginning. Like this is kind of the true beginning in a way. Like the true beginning of our life together, the true beginning of like how we set goals, the true beginning of like focusing on us without that in the picture, you know? And I think that that really needs to be formed before we even like start talking about potentially adoption or, you know, like we have to like heal from this, really. Like we can't just like fill the void with adopting. It would be unfair to a child to do that to them. It would be unfair to us, and you know, it is a potential down the road, but it doesn't, even if that were what happened were like to be what ends up eventually happening, it doesn't change this. Like it doesn't change this pain that we've gone through. It doesn't change this loss. It doesn't change me feeling so insecure. Like it, all of that is still happening, whether adoption is on the table or not, you know. So we have to focus on us and our relationship and our goals, and really like get clear on things, because while it was never a sure thing that we would be able to conceive on our own, I think we both really thought it would happen. I think we did, you know. So I think even though we kind of, you know, made sure that we used light language about it and stuff, and, you know, spoke more hopefully than like definitively, I think we really both thought that that was what was going to happen. And now that it's like, you know, definitely not going to happen through us, at least, we have to really like build, and again, just like what I said before, the architecture, the bones of like our relationship, our path, and like who we want to be together, and then determine like what's right for us, you know. So I think that's all I have to say. My focus right now is really just on healing, finding a therapist. I just can't wait for this incision to heal. Like it could be like weeks still. I mean, you're not really fully healed for like a year probably, but I mean like healed enough to not feel so discomfort, not be afraid of lifting things. Like I can't work out. I can like hardly walk that much, honestly. So, I do want to share this here, although I'm kind of debating if I should, but I'm going to anyway. So, like I said, a big portion of my focus right now is really trying to focus on things that I'm looking forward to and my plans. And again, designing my life, right? And I've wanted to create this project for a while. So in the video I posted before, I said like I have plans for this channel and this ain't it. I'm probably going to do one more video to like wrap this up when I'm not feeling so dark. I don't want to leave it on like this dark bummer of a video of the story. Like I want to share the healing, you know, because I know it will happen. So once I complete this, I imagine this to be just 3 videos. So like the next one will be the final one. I'm going to change the name of this channel. I'm going to redesign this channel. I've thought about like, should I make a whole new channel? Why am I going to make harder work for myself? I have a channel here with like 3,000 subscribers. It's not monetized right now, but like it could be in the future. And I feel like if people want to unsubscribe, that's one thing, but I really think that people will enjoy what I'm planning. So obviously the Lune Innate is my like ASMR, meditation, self-healing, Reiki, energy work, personal alchemy channel. You know, it's got a vibe. I want a channel where I can speak more. So I have this project that I've been working on for a while, but it has lacked organization. It's lacked like a North Star. Like it's something I feel and I experiment with or I attempt, and then I either get distracted or like it's not exactly how it's supposed to be. So I have to kind of pull back and like reimagine how it's gonna go. And of course I've got other things going on. I've got the other channel, I've got my son, I've got like other stuff. Since I've moved in February, it's been very hard for me when I have my son because he still was going to school where I used to live. So 4 hours a day I was driving, 1 hour to drop him off, then come home, 1 hour to pick him up and come home. So it was like 4 hours at least like every day of driving, which really cut into my, you know, my schedule and stuff. So he's going to be going to a school much closer to me now. So that's not going to happen. So I'm like reclaiming some things. I'm reclaiming that time, you know, which is great. And also like this energy that I have been focusing on for the past 2 years of like being able to conceive with my husband, which doesn't seem like it'd be so much, right? Like, oh, you guys are boning. Like, okay, what more do you need? It's been, you know, testing hormones, testing LH, timing ovulation, after ovulation, counting down the days till I can test, taking these tests, focusing on that, then, you know, starting all over again. Like, it doesn't seem like it would be so draining, but it takes focus. Like, it did not for everybody, but it did for us. Like, it takes focus. It takes like your attention, you know, and it's energy just to keep the hope alive, you know. And now that I can like let that go, it's like another area that I can like redirect back into myself. So point is, after I'm done with this little series, I'm going to rebrand this channel. I know I have some videos that like they're private or like unlisted, but you can still see them in the playlist. I don't mind, that's fine. I don't have anything to hide on this channel. I just you know, took it away because I just was kind of embarrassed by it, but like whatever, it's fine. If you feel like digging, by all means go ahead and dig. You know, like it's okay. But I'm excited to kind of like, I have a vision now. Like I have like a loose plan. I have like something that feels more aligned for that project. So after my next video, that is hopefully me feeling a lot better, maybe not 100% emotionally, maybe still working on stuff, but still better than right now, I will begin that project on this channel. It's not going to take away anything from my other channel. It's another thing that I just want to work on, because as much as I love the Lune Innate and I'm not going to stop it, it's also like slightly repetitive. It's also a little bit limiting because it's like a certain vibe that I want to try to maintain. So there I can talk about different things that are still related to personal development, but it's kind of like personal development through the lens of intuition development, of correspondence, of like energy work, and the more like subtle elements of like a holistic support for people and perspective and stuff. Like some people find tarot healing. Like for some people, myself included, tarot is a form of like a healing tool. It's all about like opportunities for self-reflection and methods for interpreting your own like inner voice and inner guidance and stuff like that. So that's really what I want to turn this channel into. So those are my intentions. All right, I love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space. If you or anyone you know is going through anything like this, I just want to send you so much love. Really, like, no one knows the pain of this, like, unless you've gone through it. It's just one of those things. I'm just really struggling, and I'll get through it, but I just want to be real, and I'm just really struggling, and I just have so much sympathy and empathy for people who are or have or dealt with things in this realm, or even very specifically something like this. And you never know what people are going through, so please be patient with everyone, because you never know like what weight they're carrying or what grief or what sorrow is in someone's heart at any point of any day. And it's just like, let's all be kind to one another, you know, and be uplifting and less judgmental. All right, I love you. I'll talk to you soonish. Okay, bye. Thank you for being here.